Our next presenter this evening is Rob with Gliph.
Hi, my name is Rob Benegali. I'm CEO and co-founder of Gliph. Gliph is a digital identity platform that uses privacy and security at its very core. So what does it allow you to do? You can store your personal information in Gliph, and you can know that it's encrypted. And you can choose what information you share with whom. So in a particular context, you may not want to share all the information about yourself, but you might need to communicate with them. So the demo we're going to show tonight is a pretty prime example, which is on Craigslist. So who's bought or sold something on Craigslist in the last 2 months? So a good portion of the audience here. It's common that on Craigslist you often have to put your first name or your phone number or your email address. And after the first exchange, you've revealed quite a bit about yourself. So we're going to show you how you can use Gliph tonight to conduct a Craigslist transaction without sharing any personal information. So we'll go ahead and get started. I've got a team member in the audience, a plant, if you will. His name is Joachim. He's right here. He's going to act as the buyer, and I'll be the seller. And for the purpose of this demonstration, my name is Erica, just so you know. OK. The ad that Joachim's going to come across, he's in the market for an iPhone, and he searches Craigslist, and he sees this ad. So it says, this person's selling their old iPhone 4, and it's got a box and a charger. It's got iOS 5.1 on it. Contact me for further details. If the ad's still up, it's still available. So standard Craigslist ad, as you'd expect it. But then you look for the contact information, because he's interested in actually buying this thing, and doesn't have his phone number. So he uses the set of symbols. You might wonder what's going on there. This is a unique name set that we've devised, and it's a global name set. So instead of a username made out of letters and numbers, which you're very familiar with in choosing any email address you've scored, we use a set of symbols we call artifacts. So we have a set of 20 of these artifacts. You pick out 3 to 5 of these. They become your unique identity. Okay? This allows you to not share anything about yourself, but you can kind of project a little bit about your personality when you choose this. So it's kind of fun. We find that people kind of see this as a personal Rorschach. Okay? So in this sense, Joachim comes across the ad, and he sees he's got a dice on here. So he's going to download the Gliph app from the Apple App Store, and this is available today. You can download this right now. We also have an Android client you can download as well. And he's going to go ahead and start by claiming a Gliph. So this is the first thing you do when you join the Gliph service. And you can see there's 20 artifacts to choose from. And he's going to try this star, star, star. Now, we've got a kind of a slow network connection, so you're going to have to bear with us. But you can see this Glyph's already taken. Somebody was in on this already. You guys are too late for that cool Gliph. So he's going to go for another one. So moon, ice cream, bicycle somehow reflects Joachim's personality. I don't know how that is, but I bet if you asked him, he could explain it. So he'll hit go. And he's got to insert his email and password in order to get started. So he'll do that. I think you might add a dot on your email address there, Joachim. OK, there we go. So once he's signed in, he's presented with this screen. And on the screen, he's got a chance to enter some of his personal information. Now, we call personal information about yourself facets. And the idea is you're made up of a lot of different pieces of information. You're represented on a lot of different networks. And when you meet someone, you may share your Facebook with them, or you may share your LinkedIn with them. But you're not going to do both necessarily in that particular meeting. So we allow you right now to enter only some very basic information. And you can see he's put in his first name and his phone number. And he's got a choice on the right on what he wants to make public. So you don't have to put everything public. You can actually stay very, very private with Gliph. And that's a central tenet of what we do, is protecting people's privacy. So in this sense, he's going to choose nothing. He's not going to put any information public, and he's going to save it. So he's presented with this initial screen. And he wants to get right to this app. I mean, he had to download this app. He entered his information. I really want that iPhone. So he's going to go to search, and he's going to put in that dice star dice for that person that's selling the iPhone. And he's going to go and look. Now, he can see this Gliph view. This person's not sharing any facets, so this person's protected their identity pretty well. They've kept all their information quite private. But he's going to request a connection because he knows what he wants. And he got a chance to put in a tag and a personal intro. The tag is kind of context for himself, so he can remember, because he might not get any information from this person. He's going to need to remember what this person's about. So he'll put in, I'm interested in the iPhone in his intro there. And he's going to ask about the color, too, because the ad didn't have enough information in it. So I'm going to come online real quick before he does that. Let me just hop on. Boom, that's mine on the right. So I am now Erica, remember? And he's going to go ahead and make the connection request. He's going to finish the connection request. Great. Yeah, we got a little slow internet down here. So I got a push notification on my phone. So I'm just hanging out at my job or something. So I'm going to answer that push notification. And as it connects to the network, it's going to find that I've got an incoming connection request. And it's from somebody, and they can see right away, hey, they're interested in the iPhone. And all they share is their first name, but that's OK with me. So I'm going to accept the request because I'm expecting it. And I'm going to say, this is someone who wants the iPhone, so potential buyer. I'm going to call him that. My spelling. OK. And I get a chance now to share what I want to share with this person. What's appropriate right now? I mean, it's a Craigslist transaction. I may want to share anything, but he shared his first name, and I want to show a little bit of goodwill, so I'll go ahead and share my first name too and accept the request. Now what's going to happen is it's going to change this set of relationships into a real connection, and we can now actually start texting with each other. So I'll just take a moment. Let me see if we can just give it a sec. And we're going to start texting right away. So that's a really key aspect of what we're doing here, is that you're able to create a connection and start communicating with them right away. So let me see if it hops in. There we are. So recent conversations. He's interested in the iPhone. What color is it? So I'll say it's black, and that to call. So I'll say call me if you have any more questions. With more cues, because I want to keep things short here. We'll see shorthand. So call me if you have any more questions. So wait, call me. He didn't share his phone number. How is that going to happen? So this is pretty cool. We just got this thing going. We're excited. We beta this, showed the demo, the beta of this a couple days ago. We actually have calling. So we implemented Twilio in this application, and you can do voice over IP calling over 3G between people you've never met before. So you can go ahead and call me there, Joachim, or call Erica rather. And if I was outside the app right now, I'm not going to push the app's button, so to speak, but if it's outside the app, I would get a push notification, just like a normal phone call, and I get a chance to accept it and answer this phone call right now. So we can actually, over Twilio, over Wi-Fi, no phone numbers, have a conversation with somebody you've never met. So that's the large part of this demo, but I wanted to talk about briefly a couple other use cases where this might be interesting, and close with something before questions. One use case that this might be interesting in would be in a dating environment. So let's say you're in a bar and somebody comes up and asks you for your phone number, and you're like kind of interested in them, like, but you aren't quite ready to give them your phone number yet. So Gliph allows you to exchange glyphs and start texting right away. So that's kind of a cool thing. So this kind of situations present themselves regularly. You can probably think some situations in your regular life where you need to stay in touch, but you don't want to quite give that information. We do believe in natural relationship development, and so you can share more information over time. You can edit a connection and share a facet as it becomes appropriate. So we allow you to develop a relationship much more naturally than if you're all of a sudden, say, Facebook friends. It's much more quick, and it's much more mobile than something like that. So I want to close really quick and say that tonight there is a small group of people that we think could use Gliph and could benefit from Gliph. That's survivors of domestic abuse. So in order to get everybody to install the app tonight, for everybody who installs the app, not only here but outside this, we're going to donate $2 per new Gliph to the DAWN, the Domestic Abuse Women's Network here in Seattle. So if you tweet about Gliph or get people to install the Gliph, please do, and we'll make that donation tomorrow. So please consider doing that. With that, I'm happy to take questions.
First question.
I missed this. So what do I see on my phone if you're contacting me? What does it say on who's calling?
Oh, it'll say the tag that you put in for the person. So that's what the tag reference is for, in that you may not know any information about them, but you might have some context that you kind of put. Like in that sense, I knew the inbound connection was somebody on Craigslist because they had identified themselves as such.
Okay.
And if I hadn't known, I could have said, reject the request. I don't know who this person is.
All right.
That was great, Rob.
Thank you.
Thanks. So my question relates to the sort of like the two sides of the same coin, privacy and trust. So it seems right here you're focused on addressing this sort of emerging trend of pseudonymity. Mm-hmm. and helping encourage better access to privacy and transacting. The flip side of that, though, is if I'm someone looking at that Craigslist ad and I don't see a name or a number, I just see a glyph, it's almost borderline ominous. So in terms of encouraging trust among consumers, what kind of actions can you take to help kind of overcome that innate hurdle in what you're doing?
That's a good point. I think one thing that we can do is it's somewhat up to the person who's trying to make the connection to establish right up front, hey, I'm the real thing. I'm actually interested in communicating with you. In this case, we only shared the first name, so that's not very much information. But if you really wanted to promote trust, you could say share also your Twitter handle or some additional piece of information, say even your LinkedIn. So it's not necessarily only for really mistrustful relationships. It's meant to be for relationships that just have a very specific context to them. As far as trust in this anonymous relationship, what we have in our roadmap is to actually implement trust guidelines into it, so layer trust on. So let's say you completed a transaction successfully, we'll allow you to rate that glyph. And we may not say this person said that this person is trustworthy, but we will reflect that there's a certain trust count that's benefited from the previous transaction. So we're not there yet. We got to start with really polishing these communication tools, but we definitely believe in adding a trust layer to Gliph connections.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
You've given the use case of being on a Craigslist or some other sort of advertisement. I mean, dating's another application. Beyond those, where else do you see this getting used?
Sure. The communication tools we've created are largely free. So the texting is cross-platform, Android to iPhone. We got VoIP going. It's not released yet. We're about 30 days out from doing a full release on VoIP. But these tools I think will be valuable for anyone. So for instance, teenagers often are on family plans. And they have their minutes and phone numbers that they're calling tracked. So it may be that they've got people that they want to talk to in the network they really don't want surveillance on. So we think that this could be valuable for anyone who doesn't want their records to be known. So it's politicians, it's an example. So the key is it's flexible, is what I mean to say. It's flexible for a lot of different communications, so not just those particular things. We see very broad applications for the communication tools that we've created.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So I definitely could have used this app in some dating scenarios I've been in, so I can definitely appreciate it. So I'll be downloading it tonight.
Thank you.
But that being said, I mean, I found out about this, about you guys tonight. It's a very specific type of environment. Just want to hear your thoughts on how you've pushed apps to date. How have you done it? Kind of the traction that you've gotten, and what are your thoughts of building that user base moving forward?
Sure. It is challenging to build user base, especially on the iOS, because Apple controls contact information that you get when you get installs, so it's very hard necessarily to connect with previous people. So the challenge with Gliph is that we want to be a very viral product, but at the same time with protecting privacy, you can't necessarily be sucking up people's Facebook information or even worse, trying to steal their address book, for example. So we have a kind of competing goals here, which is to get a viral app and to build something that instills privacy. So one of the go-to-market strategy we have is we're targeting a release specifically around the Craigslist use case. We believe that's a good starting point for our go-to-market. And so we're developing an internship network who will be buying and selling items on Craigslist using Gliph. We actually have a really awesome item identified that we can get at a lot of these. They're a piece of electronics that we know people really enjoy, and we can sell these repeatedly on Craigslist in different markets. And we can do a lot of testing with that there. So our go-to-market really is actually direct interaction over Craigslist and actually engaging with people there. You're welcome.
So what is the possible monetization for this? The app download is free. I mean, do you integrate with payments sometime in the future? Or what, I mean, how do you make money on this?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Thank you for asking it. In the near term, making money is a situation of really being able to monetize the communication tools that we've built, specifically voice over IP. So voice over IP we think is a very valuable thing. You can save your minutes. You can do it over Wi-Fi. You can do it on iPod Touch. We really believe in that. We believe that in combining the communication tool of voice over IP with the privacy that we've created, we've got a real value offering that's greater than, say, Skype or Viber. And so what we could do is actually allow, say, 300 minutes a month on Gliph-to-Gliph calls, and then you can buy up 300 more using a native in-app purchase on Android or iPhone. That's a short-term monetization, and it's just a way to show show that we can get traction and people actually value the tools we're creating. But in the long term, what we're really doing here is creating a database of personal and private information. And while you saw phone numbers and names and stuff like that right now, what we really want to get at is that license plate numbers, your driver's license number, your social security number. We encrypt every piece of data before it hits the database, which is totally unusual in the internet space right now. All data is encrypted using the user's personal and private password, and all shared information is encrypted using public-private keys that are generated when the accounts are created. So if our database is hacked and stolen, it's useless because it's protected with AES 256 encryption. So you may say, okay, then how do you monetize that private data that you've collected? The answer to that question is we put the power in the user's hands to actually make money off their own personal information. The way it happens today is you subscribe to Rolling Stone, and Rolling Stone will sell your information to some data broker, and then it goes out all over the place. So we believe that personal private information like your home address and your phone number is actually very valuable, and the companies will be willing to offer discounts in order to get access to that. So what we'd like to do at scale is allow a company like Zipcar to say, hey, Zipcar, we've got 100,000 users who have validated first name, last name, home address, email, and phone number. These are the minimum things you need on your web form. How would you like to do a single sign-on, allow them to tap in their Gliph into your site and their password, and in one fell sweep, just like Facebook Connect, you get all that validated data. You shorten your sales funnel down to one step, and you know that data is good because we have an agreement about how we validate it beforehand. And so you'll offer a deal to the user for signing on in that quick fashion, and then you'll pass some value on to Gliph as well for bringing all those users to you.
Great, thank you. I'm not going to give you my social number, though.
All right.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If anyone wanted to take Pirate Music King, that's too bad. That sweet Gliph is mine.